I really wish they taught economics in school. Now, I'm no expert in economics either. I never went to school for it, uh, anything like that. But I think I can understand supply and demand kind of well enough. It doesn't seem too like too much of a complicated thing that I can't really grasp it right. More supply, less demand, the thing becomes cheaper, right? I think we can all kind of get that, right? Less supply, still with a lot of demand. Now that thing that has less supply is going to be more expensive. If there's macadamia nuts and everybody really really loves macadamia nuts, but there's like 50 of them left, or like a small handful, well, those are going to be worth a lot of money, right? So this applies the same way to labor and to immigration into Canada, into America, every country, right? If there is a large supply of workers, now, the employers don't have to spend as much money, or they don't have to pay as much because there's less of a demand, right? Because you have hundreds or thousands of people to choose from, as opposed to 5 or 6 or 10. Because if you had only 5 to 10 people to choose from, then now you kind of gotta treat these people a little bit better, right? So all these socialist type people who really want the employers to treat you better, if you truly want that, be for ending mass immigration. Put a moratorium on immigration, and you will start to see your wages rise and your working conditions get better and better, right? There's an example in the States right now. I just read a story by the CBC today, and it says that Taco Bell is now going to offer their managers $100,000 salaries to incentivize more people to stay in the company and more people to come there, right? And to improve the quality. Not only that, they're going to be offering paid sick leave to all of the staff, like a certain amount of days, and as well as $6 million towards scholarships for universities. So, you know, if the labor shortage continues, then they're only going to get better and better perks. Whereas a lot of these people try to rely on unions and the government to help them. Whereas, like, hey, just stop importing massive amounts of immigrants and your wages will go up. And the CBC was reporting this, right? And they're like, oh, well, in Canada too, we're getting lots of wage growth too in our sector when it comes to, Taco Bell and the service industry. But the difference is our wages are not rising because compared to America, we take in way more immigrants, right? And yes, Trump does want to increase the number of people coming into Canada. And I saw Laura Ingraham, I believe it was, call him on that the other day and was like, weren't you running on America first? And he was like, no, but we need, if we train all these people in America, we should keep them here. Well, it's like, no, fuck you, Trump. Don't do that fucking bullshit. Don't stab the people who voted for you in the back. And I'm glad that Laura Ingraham called him out on that bullshit. But nonetheless, you see the results of less people in your country. The positive results. If you want higher wages, if you want a better standard of working conditions, then stop increasing the supply because it's just making your bargaining power that much weaker compared to the employers who have more power when they have hundreds of millions and shit, or millions and millions of people to choose from, right? You're just screwing yourselves, you stupid fucking liberal idiots who think immigration is a good thing. It's not good for any of us. Not good for white people because we're getting replaced, and it's not going to be good for all the minorities and people of color we're bringing in to this country. It's not going to be good for them eventually either. But, you know, if, like I said, if we want higher wages, let's just put a moratorium on immigration, or start at least putting pressure on political parties like the Conservatives in Canada, etc., to start talking about immigration. And, you can't support their parties anymore if they don't do these things. But, is that going to happen? No, probably not. People, they're like, no, not another 4 years of Trudeau. We can't do this. We got to kind of ignore all the bad things that the Conservatives are doing. And now you got, like, I saw this one woman, she's going to run for the Conservative Party, who said that, hey, she's going to try to run a more centrist campaign. So, hopefully people wake up before it's too late. But, with humans, with people, most of the time they have to feel pain, they have to feel suffering in order to make any type of change. So, like there's evidence for you guys right here. This is not fake news. It's from the CBC, right? You can trust it. If you're a liberal left, you don't trust my sources, right? You can trust this source. Well, according to you, right? You can trust it. Read it. It's not lying. It says amid worker shortages, Taco Bell, and the way CBC phrased it was floats 100K salaries for managers. Floats? When have I ever seen anybody write something like Taco Bell floats 100? No, they offered, or they're gonna change it to 100,000. They're not floating the idea and like contemplating it or something. It's like, no, they're raising the rates. And you see all these butthurt liberals in the comments section who probably went to university for a few years being like, that person should make only $50,000 a year. That's bullshit. I'm like, really? People, they really don't like to see people who think they didn't work as hard as them, because they're like, man, I've been to school for 4 years, I did all this, and now this guy probably out of high school working at Taco Bell is making $100,000 a year. Like, that's bullshit, right? But who knows? Maybe the manager position you need university degree anyways. Who knows? That's possible too. But that's what I think most likely is the case with these butthurt people. And you just see this socialist mindset in the comments of the CBC, where people are like, oh, it should only be 50,000. They should only make this much. It's like, who are you to say what people should make? Like the limit. And it's like, what are you, a guru? You know how much inflation there's going to be in 10 years? Like, set it to 50,000, and we're going to rely on the government to make sure that they keep the rates up with inflation, cost of living, and all this other shit, right? It's like, no, they're not going to do that. But, this is the free market, and capitalism is good. It is a good thing. Now, people are like, oh, no. No, capitalism is bad. And I hear this from the right as well. Tons of people on the right wing. No, global capitalism is bad because immigration. It's like, no, we're paying for these immigrants to come here. You voted for these immigrants to come here. This has nothing to do with the free market, with capitalism. You, voted for a government to put a gun to my head to steal my money to pay for these people to come here on behalf of those corporations to go work for them. And this would not be happening if it wasn't for that. If it wasn't for the government. If it wasn't for all these unfunded liabilities, these pensions that we cannot pay for. Right? It's so stupid. When pensions were first created, most people lived until they were like 70 years old, and you got your pension at 65. They only expected you to live for 5 fucking years, right? Now people live a lot longer. If you work for the government, you get your pension at 55 and shit. So you're just gonna sit on your ass for 30 years and collect money, right? The only way that we can really pay for this is keep importing massive amounts of immigrants to tax and enslave the young, the people, and just ruin all their prospects. But that's the way it is right now. And if people could just open their eyes and see, we could all be doing a lot better if we just stopped the flow of immigrants. Now, there's going to be a lot of problems that come right after that happens, because a lot of things are propped up by this huge rate of immigration. Like, for the housing sector, for one, right? I think that's one of the reasons also the government just keeps bringing in a lot of money. They want to keep this going, the housing sector. They don't want it to crumble under them. So they're just going to keep flooding more people in. And we wonder why housing prices cost so much. Once again, supply and demand. We can't build as many houses for the amount of people that are coming in, right? So, like I said, I'm no expert on economics. I've never been to school for this crap. I'm a roofer, right? I'm a fucking roofer. But it doesn't seem that complicated. And I think, and it boggles my mind that people in university and shit like that don't get that either, and think it's like a good thing. To show me articles. Well, look, see how the GDP is rising in your country because of immigration. It's like, that has nothing to do with the health of the people within your nation. That doesn't show you whether they're $200 away from insolvency or not. Half of the population of Canada. It doesn't show you, the decreasing wealth in the country. How more and more people are using food banks, etc. Doesn't show you all that. Just like, all the rich people in your country are making more money and making higher profits. That's what the GDP essentially shows you. That's about it. But so don't look at that when you're considering doing something for the benefit of your country and your economy, because importing massive amounts of immigrants is not going to do anything but decrease your wages. And like I said before, it has nothing to do with capitalism. It is the government bringing these people over. And they're using a lot of the times taxpayer dollars, or they are using taxpayer dollars. Trudeau just waived the citizenship fee for all these people. I forget how much it was, like $150 or like $1,500. That's a huge difference, but one or the other. But they're no longer going to have to pay this fee anymore. So who do you think is going to pay for that? It's going to be the taxpayer. And we already pay. There was a study done by the Fraser Institute that showed we pay more than $30 billion a year for immigration bringing in. So that's not the free market. I don't know how many times I have to say this over and over again, but there's always new people coming to the channel, etc. So, I do have to repeat myself, and that's a part of the game, right? And I shouldn't get too frustrated about that. But nonetheless, that's all I really wanted to show you guys, talk about. I know this video has been going on for a little while, but if you like my content, subscribe, share, like, and also join my Discord. I want as many people to go there as possible, post links, share articles, news, and use it as a resource, right? Use it as a catalog, a database that you can go and look up things, right? I want to kind of use it as that, right? So I have different categories like anti-white, Canada news, America news, climate hysteria. So you can post stuff about climate change in there, about anti-white racism. So if you ever want to go look at all the shit that's being said that recently as well, then you can just go look there and be like, oh, fuck, man. Like, somebody's like, oh, give me an example of somebody being racist towards a white person. You're like, oh, okay, give me a second. Here you go. Here's 150 right here for you. Shut the fuck up. Now, don't fucking try to gaslight me now. But nonetheless, that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.